Hey everyone. So Easter is coming right around the corner, and the old saying goes is Peter Cottontail hopping around the bunny trail. Anyhow, in this video, I'm going to walk you through taking a PNG file that I found on the internet, and we're going to create an SVG from that PNG file in Inkscape, and then we're going to take that SVG file, we're going to bring it into TINKERCAD, and we're going to make a dimensional file in TINKERCAD with that SVG. And then ultimately we're going to bring it into BAMBU Studio to print. So let's get started. Here we have our Inkscape open, and as you can see, this is a white work area. So we're going to import the graphic that I got from the internet. We're going to import here, and we're going to import this PNG file. Okay, there it is right there. Now, when this imports, it is going to be much bigger than our work area. This black line right here, this is our work area. And as you can see, the actual graphic is way outside, the boundary. So, control button down and click on this uh, bounding handle right here. And we're just going to drag it in some. Once you get the main graphic inside the working area, okay? Don't worry about this white out here. All you're concentrated with is the main graphic within the white box. Now, we're going to change this to an SVG. And to do that, we need to do a bit trace, which is what this is up here. We're going to change this drop down from colors to brightness steps. Single scan, okay, brightness cutoff, single scan. This adjusts the density of the SVG. If you go too light, it'll cut it out. If you go too dark, it makes it black. So you kind of gotta go like right in the middle. So right about there is fine. Click Update Preview, then click Apply. Okay, and what it does is it applies the SVG, the vector, over top of the PNG. Then all you do is you just drag this vector off of the PNG a little bit, delete, click the white box so you can select the PNG, delete it, then drag over your vector over your SVG. Okay, just like that. Once it's inside the white box, you're going to come up to Path, Object to Path, and what that does is it creates all these little wisps and everything. It puts it on a vector path. Okay. Now come over to File and click Save As. Save as type Inkscape SVG. Change the name. We're just going to call it Easter Bunny. Okay. Save it. Now that's the first step. Now you have this uh, graphic as an SVG. Now we're going to go into TinkerCAD. Okay, here's our TinkerCAD. Now this was something I did earlier on a different video. Let's create a new 3D design with an empty workspace. Okay, empty work plane. We're going to import the SVG that we just made. So choose File, Easter Bunny. Okay, click Open, Artboard, Import. That'll bring that SVG in to your workspace here. Okay, see? Now, this is already 10 millimeters high. It's already 10 millimeters thick. We're going to increase the quality to give us a better print. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate this graphic, this SVG. So with it selected, come up to click duplicate. Now the duplicate is going to merge with the original file that's there. Okay, here's what we want to do. We're going to change the height of the duplicate down to 1. All right. Then on where it says this default here, we're going to change that to silhouette. Now watch what happens. That changing that to 1, this, if you look here, this line, this is your 1 millimeter, okay? Changing that to silhouette gives it a backing, okay? If you look all the way around, you'll see that now you have a backing on your piece. If this work plane gets like out of the area, hold down your shift button and then right click the mouse and bring it and drag it down. Okay, if you have a scroll wheel, you can zoom in and out. If you go to the right side of the screen, if you go in, it goes to the left. If you come over here to the left and scroll in, it comes up to the right. Okay, you see that? Okay, now that we have that all in there, this is still 10 millimeters high. Okay, right here. See, 10. We don't want it that high. Okay, let's change that to 2. Okay, now we have a 2 millimeter depth graphic, and we have a 1 millimeter depth base. So our entire project is 3 millimeters. Okay, now we're going to convert this into one piece. And by doing that, and how we do that is we're going to group them all together. So off click into your work plane, and then highlight them both. You'll have both the top and the bottom selected. Okay, come up here to click group, and that joins them into one piece. You see how this black line right here disappeared? Okay. Now you have one solid piece, one solid graphic, one solid right now, one solid geometry. Once we get that done, we're going to change this into an STL, and then we're going to open it up in Bamboo. Now, when you export an STL doesn't save colors. So if you had this Happy Easter in here written out in, different colorations and everything, it's not going to save it. So select the piece, and we're going to export it out. Select STL, and we're going to export it into our saved area. We're going to call it Easter Bunny. Like so. I know I misspelled it, and I'm sorry, but this is just for demonstration. We're going to save it. And now we're going to go into our Bamboo, and here's the previous one that I did earlier. So let's get rid of that. And now these colors I was using before, so we'll change them in a minute. Let's add the file. Right here it is. Okay, this is your SVG. This is your STL. Let's open it up. And as you can see, when it imported all as one file, all as one thingy. So we'll change that to this gray so we can see it better. Right click, change filament, gray. Okay. If you want and you have a second monitor, you can pull up that that graphic here onto another screen and see where where your graphic lines are at, so you can work with it, which is what I'm going to do because I have a second screen that you can't see. So for right now, this is going to go bye-bye. All right, there it is. Now we're back into Bamboo. If I look at my graphic here, I have some writing, I have the eyes, I have the nose, the ears, and whatnot. So let's change this blue to, let's change it to pink. Then we're going to change this yellow, and we're going to change that to a green. Okay. Whatever colors whatever colors you want to use with your AMS, it's entirely up to you. I'm going to keep the gray, and then we're going to go in and paint this. Now, with it selected, come up here to the paint can, and here are the same colors that are in your AMS. Okay. Select the fill and select edge detection. Now, I'm going to select pink because I want the bunny ears, the inside of the bunny ears, to be pink. See, just like that. Okay. Now, here's where the problem is going to come into place. If you look here, and if I click on this, since this is all joined together, there's no break here. If I select, let's say this green, if I click on this right here, it's going to change all of that to green. And the reason being is because there's no break in the SVG. If you look at the original SVG, and I'll drag us back over, and we'll zoom in on it. If you look at it, you can see here, see how all this right here is all connected, okay? Here, 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 here. These are all connected. These are all connected paths. So there's no separation like there is on the white, okay? So that's why I was able to do this inside pink that way. In order to separate that, you would have to go in to this SVG and erase the connecting path, which is here, here, down here, and up here, and you'd have to erase those connecting paths to do that. So the reason that selected that way is because it is a connected path. So I will leave this inside gray, and we're going to change the nose to pink, like so. And then we have the little circles on the eyes, pink, pink. Okay. Now, obviously, this is for demonstration, and this is just how to be able to colorize the graphic. Like I said, if these weren't connected here, you could actually change the individual letters. What I want to point out really quick is you notice how I have my cursor here by the nose, and if you look, you can see that white line that's going around the top of the happy and above the eyes and stuff there, and you don't see it below. That's because of the connection. Okay, it's right here and right here. So it's stopping this particular uh, fill from interacting with this down here. Now you see how this part here stops on the right side of the T and doesn't continue over. But if I go over here, it's on the left side of the T, and then whatever's down here. That's how those are the paths. Those are the connected paths in this from the original SVG. So with that being said, let's off click on the paint can, and here's your prime tower. You can move a little closer if you want. Now, when you print this, okay, everything is going to be gray. The only thing that's going to be the colorization is this very thin top layer. All right, everything else is gonna be gray, and you're only gonna get like I think I had mine set up for the top line is like a half a millimeter or something like that. So it's going to be very thin. Um, to if you want the lettering to be solid, again you would have to separate these paths, because if you try to go in and paint the lettering, okay, let's try it. Let's go in, and you'll see what happens here. You'll see these facets here. See, I clicked on that and the entire thing turned green. And the reason it did that is because it is connected. Okay, this entire gray area, this entire gray is connected to this facet. Even if I just try to zoom in and uh, just click on this, it's still going to do it because this is all connected to that same, path. So the only thing it's going to print that's going to be colorized is the very top surface, which is right here. And if you look, you can see right here. This is all going to be gray, and then the very last part is going to be green or pink or whatever your design is. Okay, that's how that's done. I hope it helps you. Thanks.